guys, welcome back to another video. So I recently found out that one of the books on my TBR is actually has an adaptation on Hulu. So based on this idea that I had for Instagram, I actually have an idea for a series of videos that I can post. I actually really want to do this because it's actually something I'm interested in, like discussing and kind of analyzing, and something I really enjoy doing. Anyway, let me get into what it is. So one of the books on my TBR is No Exit by Taylor Adams, and this book has an adaptation on Hulu. So I was thinking that I should read this book, and then when I'm done, I will watch the adaptation on Hulu and kind of discuss the differences, the similarities, what I think worked for the book, what I think worked for the movie, and I guess kind of just compare the two and let you know whether the book or the movie are worth reading and watching. Because No Exit is what I'm currently reading, I guess we'll see how long this takes me to read. I think I'm currently on page 38 of the book so far, and this book is actually moving pretty fast. Like, it's only page 38, but I've already been introduced to like all the major players. I've got the setting down, and the action has already started. Like, I should probably talk about what this book is about. So No Exit is about this college girl who is on her way to visit her mom at the hospital, and she actually decides to drive her broken down car through like a blizzard to try and get to the hospital where her mom is at on time. But because of the blizzard, she ends up having to stop at a rest stop and wait out the storm. And while there, she is stuck with 3 other individuals, and when she goes outside to try and get a cell signal, she walks by one of the cars and finds a little girl locked inside. So she goes back in, and she has to kind of figure out who the car belongs to, so who has kidnapped this child and locked them in her car. And think about this, I mean, she's stuck in the middle of a blizzard, so she has nowhere to go if something goes wrong, or if this person catches on to the fact that she knows about their secret. So that's pretty much all that's happened so far. And this book is about like 359 pages. Surprisingly, I would think that with a premise like that, it would be a lot shorter. I don't know if it's maybe because it's an ebook, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Okay, microwave interrupting my update. I wasn't supposed to give an update tonight, but oh my gosh, I'm like 100 pages into No Exit, and this book is driving me nuts. Like, I know in my last clip I mentioned how it was so fast paced. Like, in the first like less than 50 pages, everything was pretty much squared away, like the characters, and then the first major plot point happened. Now we're 100 pages in. I'm like at that point where, like, you know when you're watching like a thriller or a scary movie where like the protagonist is creeping through the scary house, and you know that there's somebody in this house, and you're just like, okay, hurry up. You just want the conflict to begin already because the tension just keeps building. Basically what's been happening for like the last 50 pages. Ever since the main character discovered the child, I just keep thinking, you need to act fast, because this guy is gonna catch you and he's gonna kill you, so you gotta be the first one to spring a surprise on him. Like, do something. I guess that's why I think maybe it's the intention of this book to like build this tension, because there's like been 50 pages of this main character just thinking, like over analyzing every single thing that she's doing, like going through so many different plans that she could do, kind of panicking. And I guess that makes her reaction very real, because literally I'm thinking, like, what would I do in this situation? And it's pretty much exactly what this main character is doing. Like, first like acting on impulse, being a little shocked, and then doing crazy things, and then stepping back and thinking what's the best option, then trying to consider, if I do this would happen, or like I have to think, like, what's the long game? What's the plan for the long game? And I feel like that's how Darby, the main character, is playing this. She's not just like, I'm gonna break this girl out no matter what, or I'm gonna go inside and confront everybody and tell them that this guy's a what do you call it, a child abductor. She's thinking like, what would happen if this happens, or what would happen if I confront him now, like what are the consequences? Which, dang, turns out to be the smartest thing possible, because there's just so much tension. I just want it to be over. Like, I just need it to happen already. So I'll keep you guys updated what happens next. Hey guys, I did it. I finished No Exit by Taylor Adams yesterday. I read like over 250 pages and finished it up. Overall, I guess I would rate it 3 out of 5 stars, just to start that off. I thought this book was good. I think, you know, 3 stars is still a good book. It's definitely not a favorite, but you know, I don't regret reading it. I would say that as far as this book goes, it's like a thriller horror. And I think it does lean more towards the thriller aspects because of like the pacing, the high stakes, the tension built up in here. It's very action-packed, so I can guess I kind of really understand why they decided to make this into a movie. I think it'll be a very effective movie. I'm excited to see how the movie takes the plot of this story and runs with it, because I feel like although this book did a really great job as a source material, I feel like in the right hands, this movie could be really great. I guess we'll start with the things that I loved. I loved our main character. Darby is one of those like tough heroines who are, you know, they're not perfect by no means, but when push comes to shove, they run with it. Like, they're willing to get down in the dirt, get dirty. They're willing to defend the weak and the poor no matter what. They're not afraid to, you know, go there, to do what it takes. And I really appreciated that about her, and the fact that they didn't make her some like perfect person. Like, they kept reminding us that this character has her flaws, but despite that, like, she was willing to do the right thing, I guess. On top of that, I also enjoyed like the atmosphere of this novel. I felt like it was very effective in building that tension. Like, this rest stop in the middle of like a mountain pass, in the middle of a blizzard and a snowstorm, where they're all just stuck in there. Like, that feeling of like dread when the initial like plot point hits. It's like, oh gosh, and you realize the magnitude of what this character is in. Oh, and that brings me to the third thing that I really enjoyed. I loved being in Darby's head. Everything that I was thinking, she thought of it too. Like, this author was very good in like thinking through the character's decisions and not making it boring, but making it like, oh, okay, yeah, that's right, that's smart of her. So she was by no means a dumb character. She thought everything through, and it was actually fun seeing her, or it was very interesting and engaging, like listening to her thoughts and then seeing her enact her plans. One thing that really irritates me in like horror and thriller movies is when the main characters make stupid decisions without thinking it through. And you know, when you're just yelling at the screen, like, why are you doing that? Why are you being so dumb? You know, that feeling, you don't get it in this book. Like, for me, Darby was a smart character. Like, not overly smart. She was also very realistic, like making realistic mistakes that real people would probably make. Shoot, she was probably in like the higher tier of that as far as not making mistakes. Still being realistic enough but smart enough for you to root for her. Those are the things that I liked about this novel. Now, the things I didn't like, I mean, I can't really mark it against this book. Maybe it's just not to my taste. A lot of the horror aspects of this book were just not for me. I don't really enjoy torture horror, body horror, just the nastiness of like describing the torture and the blood and the gore. It's just not for me. I don't like it in movies. I don't like it in books. So I guess that's one thing I didn't enjoy about it. And then the second thing was, I did not like our villains. I guess it's kind of the point. You're not supposed to root for the villains, but you know how sometimes you kind of do. Like, you kind of just want to see the hero and the villain kind of go against each other and kind of see who wins. Like, with this, no, I was like, I wanted those guys to die. I guess that's about it. That's kind of why it's 3 stars. It's good, not great, not a favorite, but I don't regret reading it. Now, I'm excited to see how the movie turns out. So I'll let you guys know. I'm planning to watch that tomorrow night. Tonight I want to watch the finale for The Last of Us. So no X, it's gonna have to wait till tomorrow. But I guess we'll see how it goes. Really? Really? Now, let's talk about this stupid movie. I just finished the No Exit movie. And, oh my god. Okay, I wrote some notes. Let's just get into the notes, shall we? Okay, I think I gave the book like 4 stars. This movie, oh my god, can I give 0 stars? Okay, never mind. I like the main actress and her, I guess the way she expressed the character, so I guess we'll give it 1 star. But oh my gosh, this movie do the book so dirty. Number 1, let's talk about the setting first. So the setting for the book, when I pictured it, I pictured like a bland, basic rest stop in the middle of some sort of mountain pass. They're supposed to be in the middle of a blizzard. Like, I distinctly remember the author describing the snow in some places being almost as high as their waist. Now, if you watch the movie, it's like there was no blizzard. It was sprinkling. There was a flurry of snow. It was hard for me to picture them being as stranded as they were supposed to be. Number 2, I don't know who did the musical score for this movie, but at some points it was so heavy-handed. It was like, and then at other parts it was like soft, like chimes in the forest. I guess the tone of the movie was all wrong compared to the book. Like, imagine a book can make you feel the tension. You can really, like, the tension is palpable in the book. Like, it builds, it keeps building. It's the stakes are like this high and you're just on edge. So my alarm just rudely interrupted my recording. Anyway, I was saying that the tone of this movie did not match the book. Like, the musical score, the setting, the characters, the acting, and then all the plot changes that they made did not do the book justice in how tense and how hair-raising and how unsettling that the book was. There's a lot of things that I can nitpick about this movie, from the music to the setting to like little plot details that they didn't really cover, like how Darby was counting the cars in the parking lot and how she was kind of analyzing everything everybody said, and the psychological manipulation that Ash was doing on Darby and everybody else in that place. It's like, there's a lot of things you can nitpick, but the biggest problem, in my opinion, with this movie was the characters. Like, the characters were all wrong. For example, Lars, right? Lars's character in the book was supposed to be mentally unhinged due to his upbringing. His development didn't fully happen, so he relies heavily on his brother. And you see that in the movie, but we don't see like how much he loves violence. Like, in the book, it's so unsettling how prone to violence Lars is, how he like pushes Ash to get more violent, like how he feeds off of it, and how his actions and his words is so disturbing. Like, I felt like in the movie they got it right in the beginning, and then when the action hit and all of the torture happened, like, Lars's character like went off in a different direction. Like, you weren't scared of him anymore towards the end. You kind of felt bad for him, and the way they killed him, that was like the stupidest death I have ever seen. I was laughing at that point. If you watch the movie, you know, like, really, nail to the brain and you didn't die, but then you slip on blood and then you die. Who writes this stuff? Like, this is supposed to be the highest like climax, highest tension of the book, and you make a guy die from slipping on blood and impaling a nail into his brain? Really? Oh my god. Moving on from Lars, Sandy and Ed suddenly becoming a couple, it's like they try to throw some romance and some heartfelt whatever into this book, but they're supposed to be cousins and they're supposed to hate each other, and their dynamic is not supposed to be the way it was that they're trying to portray it in this movie. And then they completely changed Ed's character. Like completely. Like Ed is supposed to be like a recovering, okay, he's not even recovering. He's supposed to be like some alcoholic middle-aged man who was basically useless in the books. Like he had good intentions, but he was basically useless. And then they turned him into some tall, strong black man, former Marine. He basically became the biggest threat in this movie. Like, how are we supposed to be scared of the two scrawny teenagers compared to the ex-Marine? Like, really, you expect us to feel worried? Oh my gosh, the dynamic between Sandy and Jay. Sandy's supposed to be just some random bus driver who saw an opportunity and took it, but instead she's the housekeeper getting revenge on the bratty little girl of the family she works for. There was no point in the book where you're not supposed to feel sorry for Jay, but that scene, it's like you're trying to make it seem like Jay deserved to be kidnapped because she was mean to her housekeeper. I really didn't see the point of them changing the plot in that way. Like, I don't understand. Like, we're supposed to feel some sort of sympathy for Sandy because her husband's a gambler and the little girl she works for is mean to her. And then let's talk about Ash now, the second biggest character. I liked Ash in the book because of how unsettled he made me feel, how he made my skin crawl, how he was described by Darby after she kissed him, and then it was revealed that he was like a psychopath, a manipulative, smart psychopath who was just so creepily obsessed with Darby and wanting to be with her but also wanting to kill her. Like, that dynamic was disturbing. Like, that really made me want to continue reading the book but also feel so disgusted at the same time. And the Ash in the movie was nothing. Like, he was supposed to be some like troubled foster kid who suddenly turns into a kidnapper and murderer. Okay, dime a dozen, really. Like, how many movies do we see that in? They had so much opportunity to elevate this movie with Ash's character, and they dropped the ball by selecting this actor and having him portray Ash in this way. Like, the look was all wrong. The way he presented the character was all wrong. The dynamic between him and Darby was all wrong. The only redeeming feature of Ash was how much he cared for his brother, and they kind of played it heavy-handed in this one and totally underplayed his psychopathic nature. Like, finally, the last character that sealed the nail in this coffin, Darby's character. Oh my gosh. The Darby in the books that I loved was the smart Darby, the one who thought everything through, still made mistakes, realistic mistakes, but was so smart, like was 2 steps ahead of these guys who had the upper hand the whole book. She thought everything through. She was very realistic. She had her flaws, but she was also like, I guess the way I described it to my husband earlier is Darby is the kind of person who, when shit hits the fan, she's gonna fight instead of flight, you know? Like, she's not scared to go there to hurt herself to protect this child, to hurt other people to protect this child. And the Darby in this movie was like mellow. Like, they could have brought Darby to level 10 and the Darby in the book was like, or the Darby in the movie was like a 2. Like, she had the perfect opportunity to shoot the bad guy and get away, and you're telling me that she just runs? She lets him just continue walking there? She had the gun. The Darby in the book would have taken the shot, especially after he just cold-bloodedly killed 2 people in front of her. It was so stupid. I think I wrote, how many times did I write stupid in my notes? Like maybe 6 or 7 times. Stupid, 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 stupid. Okay, 5 times. She kept making so many dumb decisions in this movie. And then the ending completely dropped the ball. I love the ending in the book with the way the author decided to kind of trick us into thinking, you know, that what happened happened. Anyway, I'm tired. I wasted my evening watching this dumb movie and now I'm just exhausted. Anyway, I don't think I'm gonna do an outro for this. This will be the outro. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of, you know, adaptation, book versus adaptation. I saw quite a few other opportunities for future episodes. It just depends on, I guess, what I feel like reading versus watching. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you have any recommendations for other books and adaptations I should give a shot, put it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.